Mm-mm.
We have a
I'm
special guest in the building with us tonight. But before we show him, before we bring him on board, I want to show you a clip or his trailer from Blood at the Root. It's it's something we've always talked about, right? It's something we've always talked about. And here we go.
Yes.
Baby, sometimes you got to get to the root of things.
I don't know him anymore.
It's reckless.
100 years and you still know how to hold a grudge.
Resilience is a form of magic that's in our blood, child, and that's something they ain't gonna never take away. You hear me?
Man,
Ladarrion Williams is in the
that's that
building.
mama face with the let's go. Let's go.
Oh wow, that was amazing that y'all were able to show that.
It was amazing we got to see it. Are you kidding me? Yo, that was DOPE, sir.
We do our best to keep our guests in the know of everyone. So for one, number one, that's what brought me in the first place. I had been following you for quite a while, and the tagline is, you know, what if you had Harry Potter, but it was an HBCU type thing? And here it is. We have Blood at the Root, and this is something we've always talked about here at this panel: is where's our magical realms? Where's our stories? Where's our roots? And you've turned this into a novel.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I'm ready to talk about it. I turned it in. Obviously, the novel wasn't the original plan. I actually wrote it as this was like back in 2020, like right when things started shutting down. Not starting, it did shut down for the entire year. But so I wrote it as a TV script. So because I was just, I started binging again when we were all locked in the house. So I was like binging, of course, like the Moeshas and the Parkers and everything else. And then I was binging.
Why not?
Right. But I was starting to binge like a lot of the obviously Harry Potter and like the Vampire Diaries and the originals. And I was just like, just rewatching all those shows. And I was just like, man, like I wish we have something kind of like that, but for us. And so I tweeted. I said, man, what if Harry Potter went to an HBCU? And like the tweet went viral and like it blew up, and people were like, "Oh my god, like what? Like we've been wanted that. We want to be Harry Potter. We want to be Slytherin and Gryffindor. We want to be all of that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I saw that there was a need for it. I was like, okay, well, how do I'm a writer, so. Toni Morrison said, like, if there's a story out there that you want to see, you need to write it, right? Mm-hmm. And so I put pen to paper and I created like this, I don't know, I just created this pilot script about this kid getting accepted into a magical HBCU. And so I rewatched like Stomp the Yard. I rewatched all these others like Drumline and all of this. And so I was like, okay, let me have that, but with magic, and Black people are like in the South, and like everybody's getting accepted. So I wrote a full pilot script. And from there I was like, okay, well, I want to shoot a short film or a trailer or something. And obviously I didn't have the funds at the time. So after I wrote the pilot script and studios and networks started seeing the tweets and like the posters that I was posting about it. And they were like, hey, we would love to meet with you. And I was like, okay. And so we met, and then I sent them the script, and there was this one particular big network. A lot of people don't like them now because they changed their names, but
as long as it ain't Tubi, we fine. As long as it ain't
so they was like, yeah, we love the script, man, like, but we want to see something. We want to see like a concept trailer. I was like, okay, I don't have the money to do that. But and everything is shut down. Like nobody's really working like that. But then I think randomly when I opened Twitter, like this one girl asked me, like, hey, what's your Cash App? I would love to support that idea. And then when she asked, that started like a chain of reaction. Like people were like, okay, yeah, I'll donate $5 here, I'll donate $20. And then this one dude donated like $300. And he was like from Canada. And like then I start having people from UK donating. And so I eventually got enough money to kind of like, I said, okay, well, I got enough money to make a trailer. And so I called up my friends. We did a table read of the script, and I was like, y'all, I know we shut down. I promise we won't get sick. There will be masks, there will be hand sanitizers if we can find some.
Dip your hands in this bleach just for the
right.
Just don't drink it. I think we're Gucci, okay?
Oh gosh, yeah. And so they were like, yeah, we down. Like they love the concept, they love the idea, and they saw that I was very passionate about this story. And so I hired a cinematographer, I hired a sound person through Twitter, and then we were like, okay, let's shoot it. And so we shot it around LA. And on the first night of shooting, we shot at this gas station somewhere in Inglewood. It was like an Arco. He was cool. The guy was cool. And so we shot it there. And the cinematographer was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a short film. And I was like, brother, I don't have that much money for an entire short film. So we don't have to do what we have to do. And so he was like, look, we'll make do. And so me and my friends, we literally shot the entire film all over Inglewood, and all over North Hollywood, and then we tried to cheat it to make it look like we were in New Orleans, which was very, very difficult. And after that, we completed the short film, and then I was like, okay, I got a whole 25-minute short film, and we put it out, and people were inviting when they was like, yes. And, I put it out on my birthday, December 3rd, 2020, and we shot it around October. Yeah, so
yeah. Yeah.
Sagittarius season, yeah. So we shot it then, and then I sent it back to the executive, the Hollywood executive. I said, hey, I did what you asked me to, and I would love to set up a meeting to try to, get you to buy the show. To this day, I've never heard from that executive ever again. I don't know if they got, Hollywood. Hollywood is on Hollywood.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hollywood's going to Hollywood.
I don't know what happened. I've never heard from him ever again. And so I had the script, and then I had this short film, and I was posting it everywhere, and I was trying to get it to go viral every time I posted, and it was just so difficult. And after that, I was like, okay, well, I got this viral short film, I got this viral script. Like, let me try to get an agent, a Hollywood agent to rep me. Nobody wanted to rep me. They were saying, this is great, but we're not really connecting with the main character, or we don't see this as marketable. And then I ended up getting more meetings at other networks and studios, and they kept telling me the same thing, like, yeah, it's not really marketable. This is something we're looking for, but this particular story is not that marketable. I was like, okay.
In other words, what?
Bruh, man, the napkins keep covering shit. What the hell?
Complexion for the protection for the collection.
Exactly. Yeah, so because what I really wanted was this to be literally for Black people. Like, we are reclaiming our magic, because when Lovecraft came out, that's something like clicked in me. Like, that's what really, seeing that. I remember the Tulsa episode, and that was just so powerful.
Episode 9. Oh
yes, Johnny Smollett's character walking literally through fire, and like she has the book in her arms, and we normally don't get to be taught about Tulsa, and so I was very interested in diving into our history a little bit more, and through that, and reworking the script, because you got to rewrite. Like, that's the nature of writing. I was like, okay, I want to put in the Haitian Revolution. I want to put in Black people time traveling, and they're casting spells, and like all of this stuff. And so with that, I was feeling very depressed about it just wasn't going anywhere. I think people on social media got tired of me posting the same trailer over and over and over. And it felt like the hype kind of died down a little bit. And I was like, man, I'm trying to keep this momentum going. And it just felt like I was doing it by myself. Like my friends were like there and supportive, but like actors they do something, they go on to the next project because also it's the pandemic. So I was like, okay, I was talking to my friend and it was like, hey, like I think you should turn this story into a book, like because you always loved books. And I was like, no. And this was during the riots and George Floyd, and it was a lot of racial tension.
The burn.
There was a lot of going on, and I was very radical in my thinking as far as like this is when I was really like radical in my thinking. I was like, I don't want to see Black men being killed or shot by police or dealing with racism in this type of story. And I knew for a fact that publishing was not going to like that, because at the time publishing was only producing books that if they had a Black boy lead specifically, they were only dealing with police brutality. That was their story, and then they died by the last page of the book. And so I kind of put it off for a little bit, and just like a year later, I was just this story wouldn't leave me alone. And like Malik wouldn't leave me alone, who is my main character, and like this world just kept growing and growing in my mind. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll try to write it as a book, because I do remember reading books when I was in high school. I was in high school when the YA boom was like it started booming. Like there was Hunger Games, Twilight, and Divergent.
Yeah.
We had to go when the movie dropped back then. You had to wait till like 12 o'clock at night on a school night to go.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the era. And I love those movies, and we grew up on them, but I just got tired of not seeing me. Like I got tired of not seeing my friends, on there getting to have the adventures and getting to have the love stories, right? And like they always have the dystopian stories, but they were always with the white lead. I was like, I don't know if the white girl will be saving the world during a dystopian society. I don't know.
I can't depend on a girl with a Stanley Cup trying to save the world.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And so I went to Barnes and Noble because I wanted to pick up reading, because I stopped reading for that reason. So I went to Barnes and Noble here in Burbank, and I asked the clerk. I was like, hey, I'm just getting back into reading. Like, can you help me like pick out some books? And so we went to the YA section. I was like, I'm looking for books with like Black boys on the cover, and I don't want them to really be dealing with racism right now. She's like, yeah, sure. And she went up and down, like she was looking up and down. And the YA section is pretty big, but at the end of the day, it's pretty small. So we went to the YA fantasy section, and then she was looking up and down. I was looking up and down, and she was like, oh, what about this book? I was like, yeah, I like that. Like, I want to support that book, but I just don't want to deal with police brutality right now, because it's in our faces every day on social media. Right. I just don't want to deal with it. And she kept looking up and down, and I looked up and down, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she was like, huh, like there's really not books with young black boys in the YA fantasy section that don't really deal with racism and police brutality and get killed and be pushed to the side to help the white main character realize their dreams and their purpose in life. And so that's when I was like, okay, with my friend telling me, and then with that, I was like, okay, I gotta write this as a book. And I locked myself in my apartment for 12 days and wrote the first draft of the book of Blerd at the Root. And that from there, adapting it from the script to a book, I had to create more characters. I had to build out the world a lot more, because with the pilot script, you can only go so far into the story. And technically Act 1 of the book is the pilot script. So I had to build out the college and the classes and the curriculum. And so I had a first draft, in 12 days. And I was like, okay, I'm going to self-publish it. I was like, I'm going to self-publish it, because publishing just don't want stories with black boys as the magical character. And I hired an editor. She's a black woman. Her name is Margot Weston. And she's from Louisiana. We still talk to this day. And when we were working together, she was like, Ladarrion, she was like, this book is too good. She was like, I know you want to self-publish, but you need the engine behind you to really, really help you get this book out there. And I was like, Margot, no, I'm good. I'm not trying to have that heartbreak. Hollywood already broke my heart with this story. I can't have publishing break my heart too. So we kept working on it. She kept saying, look, publishing needs this story. Like, she was on the same front as I was. She was like, there's really not a lot of books with Black boy main characters in the YA fantasy. I said, okay, this was like March. This was like around April, May 2022. And 2021, sorry, 2021, April, May 2021. And I went on query. So I started querying agents around May. And, for those that don't know, querying is just, you send a cover letter and about your book and like a little bit of like a sample to agents. And I was getting rejections from like the very first hour that I sent emails out to for literally, I was getting rejections in the morning, late at night. And they were saying the same thing that Hollywood producers were saying. We like it, but we can't really connect to the main character, or it's not really marketable for us right now. And I was being petty. I was sending every single rejection to my friend Mark. I was like, see, I told you, I'm going to self-publish this. And she's like, just keep going. And then we're going to rework the first 50 pages. We're going to rework the first 100 pages. And so we did that. And then around May, June, I got an offer for representation. And I was like, oh, okay. That's cool. Okay. And when you get an offer for a representation, that's when it's weird. It's a weird dynamic. Like the tables turn. Now they have to convince you to sign with them because now they see value into your work. And so I said, okay. And typically when you're getting an offer, you have to let every single querying agent know that you queried, hey, I got an offer of representation. Hurry up, because you only got so many days to make a decision. That's typical. That's a typical thing in the industry. And so I was getting, agents was dropping out. They was like, yeah, we're good. No, I'm good. And I ended up getting 2 more offers from agents, and I had to spend like 2 weeks in like July, August to kind of make a decision. And then I currently signed with my agent now, who we're still together, is Peter Knapp at Park and Fine Literary. He took a chance on Blood at the Root, and he really believed in my vision. Is to showcase Black boys and the complexity of Black boyhood through the lens of magic. And he really understood it. He really supported it. And so I signed with him August. Yeah, that was August 2021. And then we got to work right after. We started editing the book to get it ready to submit it to publishers. And that's a whole nother feat. And so from like August to the next year, just rewriting the book, and letting it grow and meeting more characters and getting the draft right. We went on submission to editors at publishers September 19th, 2022. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, I crossed one hurdle to get the agent. Now I got to cross another hurdle to get the actual publisher to buy the book. And it's the same thing. Like within an hour that he was sending emails out, we were getting rejections. Saying no, like again, it was the same thing from Hollywood to the agents and now to the publishers. No, we're good. We don't really have an editorial vision for this book, or we don't know how to market it, or we don't really connect to the main character. So I was getting that.
Just hearing that story over in not just in the literary context, but in the physical media, whether it's television, whether it's movies, and we hear this story, but the problem is, we know that's not true. Like we know that's not true.
And my stuff was going viral still, like on YouTube, and so it's clear. And then I went viral on TikTok because I joined TikTok at that time. I bit the bullet and started joining. And
the issue is they can't take credit for it. That's why they're giving you that trashy line. They can't take credit for what you created. It's unique, and it's something in the back of their mind. They're sitting there going, "Why didn't I think of that?" Well, okay, you didn't. But make it something. Make it something worthwhile.
It always comes back to who's your lead. Oh, well, this lead is this young Black. I'm sorry, what? I mean, that's this young Black hero I have. That's is it Blue's Brutality? No. Is he from a rough neighborhood? No. Did he lose his parents? No, he didn't.
Is one of them abusing him?
Does he sell drugs? Is he a drug dealer? Is he
right?
Is it like one of those Tyler Perry plays where he's a reformed Christian and there's songs? No. Oh, well, we're not interested.
He's a runaway preacher. No,
Right, he's not a runaway preacher. Yeah, it's just so yeah, and looking back now, I was very dramatic because being on sub to publishers, like you're literally at the door. You just need somebody to open it, right? Like so every day I was getting like 2-piece comboed every day. Like I would get one in the morning, and then you're checking your phone every 5 minutes, which is not healthy. I don't recommend. Yeah, because my age, because I don't like silent rejections. I have to know, like, just give me a yes. I don't like silence. So I told my agent, if they say no, just send it to me. That way I can just count them out. And so we submitted. I think we originally submitted to 30 editors, and my agent, he doesn't. Usually agents do rounds. They do like 10 or 15. And so we were running out. Like people were saying no. Like by November, December, and Hollywood and publishing, they shut down for like 3.5 weeks in December because of the holidays. And I was like, well, that's a wrap. So we didn't get no book deal because I wanted a book deal before my 30th birthday. I was like, that's my goal. That was like my life goal, is to get a book deal before my 30th birthday. And didn't get it. My birthday, December 3rd. I got like 4 rejections on my birthday. I was like, whatever. Yeah. And so like things started shutting down, and at that time I was going to Chicago to work on a play of mine because I'm also a playwright. So I got to go to Chicago to work on a play. And so while I was out in Chicago, things opened back up again. People were going back into the office, and rejections was flooding in. I was like, we're down to like literally less than 10 editors. So I got to break up with my book, and just say, hey, I tried, but maybe it's just not right. It's not the time right now. And woke up one morning and I had an email from my agent saying, hey, Ladarrion, please call me. We need to talk. And I was like, okay. And I called him, and he told me that we got an offer from a publisher or an imprint. Like, publishers have different imprints. So we got one offer from imprint, and we got on the phone with the editor, and they told me how much they loved the book and like what their editorial vision was. And so it's kind of like with the agent again. So my agent have to go to all the remaining editors and tell them, say, look, he has an offer on the book. Either you offer or we gotta bow out. And so I was like, oh my God, he's telling them that. Like, oh God, here we go.
That dread right there. That dread.
Your nerves is on 10.
Oh my God. And so yeah, they offered, and then a couple of days later, HarperCollins, they offered for a book deal, and I was like, oh my God, like that's one of the big 5, right? And so after they offered, another editor came in and was like, look, I love this story. We got on the phone really quickly, and she was like, look, I love your story. This is my editorial vision. She's like, I love that. I love your mission. And she's like, this is what I want to support. And she was like, she went to my agent. She was like, we will offer this much to take it off the table. And she offered a lot of money. A lot of money. And what really drew me to her also too is I wanted to see this book in 3, like a trilogy. And the other offers, they only offer 2 books, and then a possible maybe a 3rd book. And so on January 19th, 4 months in, we officially closed submission, and we sold Blerd at the Root in a 3-book deal, in a major deal, on January 19th, 2023. And
3 days after my birthday. Let's
go. And my actual birthday.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So I was doing Lyft. I was so I went back home, came back to LA, to do Lyft, to back to the 9 to 5, I guess if you want to call it that. And my agent called, and I was like, okay, this is something. And so my agent called. Yeah, he told me, he was like, hey, Ladarrion, do you have time to talk? I was like, I'm driving right now, but let me pull over. I was in the middle of downtown somewhere, like downtown LA. And that's when he's like, you officially sold the book, Blerd at the Root. You're going to be, and they're going to fast track the book. So they're going to have it come out May 2024 instead of May 2025. And
wow.
Like
I got to give you this. Because
you better.
That's a much thought off after situation that here on this platform within the Blerd community, we talk about seeing ourselves in leads, whether it's action, sci-fi, fantasy, romance, and it's so necessary.
Yeah,
it's so necessary. When you hear those stories, just like you told that story, they kept turning it down. Oh, it's not our vision. In other words, it's not napkinized. It's not for the ashen.
It's not what we're looking for right now.
It's not unseasoned mayo enough.
It is not for the Cauliflower Coalition.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's in because this book, what I wanted to create this world, but we learn our history, we get reconnected to our ancestry, and and it talks about, it does have tough conversations in our community, and I don't even know if I can say I can understand, but when they read stuff like they're like, Haitian Revolution, these kids are time traveling back to that point of history, and they're seeing heads getting chopped off. We don't know. We want to talk about this. We don't know. And I was like, because as a kid from the South, I was born in Alabama. We didn't get to learn about the Haitian Revolution, and not realizing now that the Haitian Revolution sparked so much in Black history, and it inspired so much in Black history, all the way from Louisiana to Alabama, Mississippi, all the way to the Gullah Geechee. It sparked so many insurrections. And so I wanted these kids in this story to learn that. And I want kids and everybody who buys the book to also learn that as well, because these are a lot of hidden history, Black history that they're refusing actually to teach in the American school system. Thank God my editor, Lisa Abrams, she took a chance on the book, and she's been very, very supportive of the book so far. And we're 3 months now. Today, we're 3 months away from having it in bookstores. So,
Cinematic Assassin, you had a question, and I want you to ask it.
You always got a question.
Because I just want to let you know you're amazingly inspirational, because we're actually mutuals on Twitter. So I was in the Twitter streets when you were like, "Hey guys, how do y'all feel about this Harry Potter HBCU idea?" And so seeing that go from a tweet to then seeing the little film drop, and then now it's a book that's coming, it's a real physical thing. I saw your unboxing. I was like, that's crazy. It literally was an idea, and now it's a real thing in the universe. Thank you for that. Thank you for me being able to be a part of a passenger on this whole process. And with that, my question was, what was the transition from it being a script to being a novel? What did you have to do to make that transition and flesh that out?
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's writing a script. Screenwriting is already, sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with screenwriting because it's so formulaic. They don't want I've been told so many times when people read my scripts, it's very novel. It's like a novel. It reads like a novel. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then writing the novel, my agent would tell me it's kind of like a screenplay. And I'm like, damn, okay, so how do I switch it up? And so I'm a playwright at heart, and so I was like, okay, Ladarrion, how do you infuse the two into this book and talk about crafting amazing prose, or in my opinion, I think it's amazing prose, and but also when I was reading books, I was like, okay, Black people don't talk like they're in a Shakespearean play. So and I'm from the South, and so I want to hear my mama talk. I want to hear my aunties and my cousins and my friends. I want to see that in a book. I want to see the AAVE, and also it can manifest magic. It can manifest their spells, and so I was really diving into all of that. I was reading not only scripts, but I was reading other books, but I was also reading plays. I was going to go see plays. I was going to go see authors talk about their books, and I was like, okay, I gotta sit down. And with my agent, he told me one day, just be unapologetic about what you're saying in these chapters, and be free. And he gave me that, he gave me that rein. And so this, I don't even know what, because I wrote so many drafts of this book, I don't even remember. It's now, but there was a moment where it really clicked. I was like, okay, I want to see a chapter again, like the Haitian Revolution. I was like, I want to build a whole chapter off of that. And now getting into that chapter, I was like, okay, that's going to spark so many events in the book. Now, okay, I want to write that, and then going to and also too, when you write a pilot script and you haven't sold the show, you don't have the other episodes to show people. So now I really got free reign to talk about what I want to talk about in the story and showcase what I want to talk about. So that kind of lifted a lot of pressure off of me while I was editing the book, while I was rewriting it, and still letting it be visual, even though you're reading it. My publisher says that the book is very cinematic. Even when they read it, like they can still picture the magic, they can picture the school and Malik. I don't know, he's conjuring hurricanes and fire, and he's calling on his ancestors to basically like, yo, help me out. I'm in trouble, you know. And so so it's just I had to really step away from the pilot. I haven't read the pilot script probably in 2 years. It's on my computer. It's in my file.
It's going to be one of them things where you reach back and be like, okay, I can change this because now it's a little more relevant or something.
Yeah,
so it happens. That happens.
And now when we
update it to the times,
I can update it and really and take the lessons that I learned about writing a book back to screenwriting and really be unapologetic about what I'm trying to say in the screenwriting, because that's when people are really going to see it visually on a screen. So
this is coming out at a time as I've coined this year the year of truth, because things have been popping up and people getting aired out, and it's become Issa Rae has literally just said, you know what, I got funds that I'm putting together, and didn't I call this, guys, putting funds together so we can do our own thing, because seeing ourselves on a television show or in a movie and it doesn't fold over well for the general masses, as they like to call it. But we know what it is, you know. And now here we have something, when the concept of your short film came out, my eyes lit up. You know, and this was right like around the time like Hogwarts Legacy was popping up and people were doing the whole TikTok thing, and I'm like, yeah, but where's ours? And you know, like, why do we have to use someone else's?
I don't mean magical Negroes either, because that was just
magical
Negroes.
Let's
put it like this:
positivity, because
when you cross 50 years old, all the fucks have just disappeared in your life.
Lady Mandalore, you had a question.
Yikes. I had several.
Come on, girl. Come on. You represent Capricorns. Come on now.
Fire off.
Are you okay? Oh shit. Okay. Do you feel any worries about your book potentially being banned? Because you're doing some critical race theory. You're making the small children maybe nervous about their heritage and how delicate they might feel about being told how they was acting back in the old days, even though the asses wasn't there. But
keyword delicate.
That's one question. My second, I don't go finish that first one.
Yeah, that's a very that's a very good question. Because it's weird actively seeing books being banned right now. It's just, I'm like, wait, what? They're banning. Okay. I don't. Am I worried about it? I don't know. I've been told by even white people, like, yes, finally, we can see different type of stories. Like, we're tired of the. One white woman told me, she was like, I'm tired of reading about white men or white girls saving the world. I'm like, oh, and she's an older white woman from like Mississippi, like that told me. And I am afraid because I remember growing up in Alabama, right? Like just being a teenager and not even having a car and being able to go to like books, like we had Books a Million. Barnes and Noble was like all the way in Birmingham somewhere. But not being able to have the access, if it wasn't for my school's library, I wouldn't have access to books because one, I didn't have the funds, and two, I didn't have like a way to get to the bookstore. And so that's what I'm afraid of, is like a lot of, you know, Black and brown kids who are wanting to and who are yearning to see this book. And they're not able to read it. That's going to be very heartbreaking. And, you know, I have to figure out, you know, how to get this book to them. And that's why it's so important for people who are very frequent visitors of their local libraries to request books like Blood at the Root, like just Black books, because the more they request it, the more the library has to, well, hopefully, I don't know what the laws or rules or whatever they have. Hopefully they do stock them, but that's what I'm really, really afraid of for like a lot of young Black, brown kids, especially Black kids who don't have a lot of access to the arts, not being able to get this book. That's what I'm afraid of.
And I'm glad you said that, because there's someone you can also follow up with, and that is Sister Sci-Fi. Sister Sci-Fi pretty much deals with this type of stuff. And showing Black books, like Black authors, Black leads, and not torture porn, not trauma porn, none of that stuff. So I'm glad that question was asked, and I'm glad that was put in place, because we know people. We know people.
We know people. I think Sister Sci-Fi, I think I have an interview with them in July, but I think I'm going to go up. They're North Cal, right? Are they North Cal?
I believe so. I
think they're in the Bay Area. I believe. My publisher's already been talking to them and going to be doing some signings for books there.
Look at God.
Yeah. That's why when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, like my publisher was like, hey, the Sister Sci-Fi are really interested in your book and like stocking it. And so that's very important too, especially I'm hoping that more Black owned bookstores are able to be placed in a lot of cities, small towns, everywhere. So I'm very hopeful for that. But yeah, that was a really good question, and now that's making me think like, the work is never
strategize,
over.
baby. You need you to strategize. Stay on defense.
Before I get to Navy, I have to say this: it's needed. I said it earlier. It's necessary, because when you hear people say, "Oh, that's not what we're looking for," it's not what you're looking for. However, there are an army of people who are dying to see this type of work. They want to read about this stuff. They want to see it on screen. They want to see it in their homes, because, and I'm Lovecraft country. Shout out to Misha Green, number one, who took a book that was written by a racist white man and flipped it on its head. And said, I'm going to tell this story. And the questions and the conversations that were being had by several generations about stuff they never knew about, whether within our own bloodlines, they didn't know about stuff. They didn't know about it. It shocked me finding out from someone who's 3 times my age, they hadn't heard of Tulsa. And I heard of Tulsa 30 years ago. So, it was shocking. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Tulsa, sundown towns that have been drowned out by
lake towns.
It sparked the conversation in my hometown.
So this needs to be told. These stories need to be talked about, because someone, just like you said, that white woman in Mississippi, she was like, finally, I want to know. I want to know, so when you hear stuff like that, when you hear about the Lake Laniers, which has a horror movie now,
is it like, please tell me the ancestors are like burning the boats, and is that the premise?
I was like, oh, look at that. The Central Parks and all the different man-made lakes around the country and everything. When you hear these stories, and when you hear about, oh, they're going to ban books in Texas and in Florida and all in Virginia. And it's like, why? What are you hiding?
What are you hiding?
We're in the year of truth now. You're hiding something.
The grandparents don't want to let the grandkids know that you might have been racist.
Yep. Navy, you had a question.
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, sir. I dig what you've done because I'm a bookhead. I've been back in the day where the library was my rec center, so I don't care what anybody says. What made you decide to go the route of bringing in Haitian history? Because we know ethnic and indigenous cultures around the world all focus around magic, and I've noticed that whenever you bring anything from the islands, anything from the Caribbean involving magic, it's always with a negative connotation, especially in movies. I hate seeing it where you're not letting people see the genuine love and what it has done to allow these people to live and to grow, but rather you want to see the deadly demon in, the voodoo side of it. And I was like, no. So out of all of them, what made you decide to focus on the Haitian culture, which I'm fascinated by, because again, like you said, a lot of people didn't know about the Haitian Revolution and how much of an impact it's had on our folks as a whole, especially around the Gulf Coast and around, around the southern region. So
yeah, that's a really good question too. And it's for that very reason. When I was like doing like research, because I've always been very fascinated with the Haitian Revolution. But when I started researching, there was like stories of during the war, right? Like that they were like a tribe was dancing in the woods in Haiti to call upon like the Orishas, like Ogun and Shango, and to help them win the war. And I was like, wait, what? Like, because like you said, like every time you see if they even allude to the Haitian Revolution, it's always it's the black warriors holding the head, like the chopped heads of the white princes,
and the like, chicken blood and the dancing and all the negative connotations.
You on their land and you tried to steal their land and you tried to kill their people and pillage and everything. So I was like, okay, like how do I kind of humanize this, right? Because growing up, like, and this is no shade to American Horror Story because it's one of my favorite seasons, but when I saw Papa Legba, which that wasn't, they mixed it, but amen. He was snorting, he was snorting coke, and I was like, wait, what? Like, and he's still a baby? Okay, no, this is not this. No, like, and maybe there's a version of that. I don't know, but the ones that I was studying and hearing people talk about, that there was like Abderraya Toya, like this black woman, was chopping heads off, but there were stories that she had super speed and she had superhuman strength, and like she was leading it, and then also hearing about other warriors like really just calling upon the magic. And so I was like, that's not negative to me. They were defending themselves. Like naturally what they would do, and also using that and using the call on the gods and their ancestral powers and using the soil and like the nature, like this all of that, and learning that the boat stops, how like the customs from the motherland, right, Africa, and then they stopped in the Caribbeans, and then they came over here. Those slaves were taking all of that they knew from their motherland, and they were just switching it up. Like, okay, we have to hide this. We can't perform this publicly because we'll be killed. So how can we change this? Like, how can we, practice it in the open, but it's still close. They looking like, oh, they're just dancing around the fire. That's kind of weird, but but they don't even know the ring shout. They're literally calling upon the ancestors to help them, get rid. So that's the reason, because I just wanted to humanize that, which I hope I've done correctly. But I wanted to humanize those in that history, because learning about that for the first time as a black kid from Alabama, and I'm like, but we've been learning about Greek mythology all through high school and middle school, and those Greek gods they were doing some foul stuff.
They were, and that was each other.
They all did each other.
Here's a half-naked hero doing all kinds of weird shit. I don't want to know he's half-naked. What are you telling me this for?
Yeah, they're fornicating with a fleece. But we want to humanize that, okay? And then we want to villainize voodoo and hoodoo culture, and even still, like, even as I'm working on book 2 in the trilogy, I'm learning more about hoodoo culture and how it influenced like the Black Baptist culture, and like all of those customs literally came through in Louisiana and like I said, Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, all the way up to the South Carolina, the Carolina coast. And so it's just so beautiful to see that. And I don't practice it, but I want to at least do my job to honor it. And to honor that sacrifice that they did, because we never know, like, we're so cut off from our history sometimes. Like, I don't know. Maybe personally, I had an ancestor in the Haitian Revolution, and I just felt compelled to and inspired to write about it. But yeah, I just wanted to humanize those people who fought and bled for their land and their families.
And I'm glad we mentioned in the Haitian Revolution. Shout out to MVJ.comics, because they actually have a book on Louis Louveté, Toussaint Louveté. And how the whole Haitian Revolution and vampires and everything. It's dope concept, dope book. So shout out to them. We need these kind of stories.
Yeah. Can I put in a bid for if you decide you want to do an audiobook version of this? You have 3 voice actors amongst this crew who will be more than honored to be a part of this.
He always does this.
I do. Do you want me to do a lyric and sounding like an old Victorian old man? I mean,
myself, Lady Mandalore, and Navy Montel, we're all practicing voice actors, and we enjoy this stuff. I'm not here to blow my own horn, man. I'm
better toot that damn thing.
I'm here to give everybody else flowers.
Who's that pause?
Just immediate. After today, the pause button.
I do. So Navy Montel, like, is that your name?
That is what I go through on social media. My name is Montel, but that's what I go through with social media.
So you want to know an interesting fact?
Shoot.
My middle name is Montel.
Serendipitous.
Let's go. Let's
go. So Spartan, about those numbers.
That's why when I saw that, I was like, wait, I never met another Montel. Like,
same. I don't meet, you see, that name is like, are you worthy of that title? Because
yes, IMDb voice actor.
Yeah.
We are credited.
Yes, and my last name is Williams. So I've been. No, he's not my uncle.
Wow, don't feel bad. I tell people my name, they go, Williams. It's funny. Can you give me my damn food?
Right, exactly. That's literally how I be looking. Like, can you just give me my food, please? Like,
so this has been one of these, and I'm so glad you wrote this. And I know, like I said, with stories like Lovecraft Country, and even that season of Coven on American Horror Story, because I wasn't just rooting for Angela Bassett because of Angela Bassett. I was rooting for Angela Bassett because I'm like, finally, we have someone. It was like, who's about this shit? It was like
she was the real supreme, but that's another I was confused. I was really confused by the whole. Wait a minute, what? This is a 300-year-old witch, and she's getting her ass handed to her by a little girl. Okay, all right. That's what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was calling them out now. She was calling them out, but I said the same thing. I'm like,
just don't track. The math ain't mathing.
The math is not really. It's literally not mathing. I'm like,
no.
She's 300 years old, so she's more
English. Ain't English. And what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, it was. I was giving looks like this. Huh?
Hey, I'm sticky. I was like. Okay.
Selective black disapproval.
Very black.
Right.
I am Fillmore.
That is funny.
Spartan, you had a question.
Oh no, I was good. I was going to say I was listening to you guys because I just kind of already ordered his book because I kind of feel like I was wanting to read this because, again, not just to reiterate. First off, read banned books. I cannot stress that enough because you individuals, really, you puntas, you pendejos, you mate de libres, you anyway. You individuals make me sick sometimes about that kind of stuff. But no, all jokes aside, perception is everything. I mean, the fact that we say we want our leads to represent us and make people uncomfortable. So what? Because for the longest time, didn't bother you when we were watching your movies. So why should it bother you when you read our movies, when you read our books, when you see our stories, our television shows, things of that nature? Why does it bother you so much that now the shoe's on the other foot?
I want to be able. I want to be. I want to.
mind you.
I want to lean over in the theater to that one bendejo. Say you shifting a lot over there. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
it's a lot of heat coming off of you. You okay? Yeah.
I'm for that time when the first time I got to see Roots in a room full of napkins and the napkins got nervous. That was the greatest 2 hours in a classroom thing I've ever had, to where they were nervous and I'm like, "What's the problem?" Well, it's horrible. Why? It's history.
It was.
It's history.
Yeah, sure was.
No one said it was pleasant.
But it needs to have that. It needs to have that, not just from that shock factor alone, but again, it goes back to perception. We want to be able to tell stories as you've seen in the comics field. We don't want the struggle stories. We don't want the you have to come from impoverished or unbelievable situations or stereotype demographic stories. Can we just have a story that we can relate to that doesn't involve A, B, or C and still be able to enjoy it?
Mm-hmm.
Which you have done. That's like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, sir. The book that you have is exactly the example of what we actually need out there.
Yeah.
But it's always funny when you always hear, well, how coming from a napkin, always from a napkin. Oh, I was you really will. Really will. Well, but no, it's just no. I had to give.
I hate you, Will. I hate you so much right now.
I had to give you your flowers on that because to continue with that story, because again, getting the slam doors, the rejection letters, things of that nature, and to be on the cusp of it being sold. I'm sorry, of it being available, of multiple people being involved in it. I just want to give you your flowers on that, man, because that you guys celebrate the victories and accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
And something tells me that you, along with a whole bunch of others, is going to kick open a very locked door, and I cannot freaking wait.
So I will say this, because apparently a lot of what I've been saying is been happening lately. I'm just waiting on them damn lottery numbers. This is the wave, and your book is a part of this wave. And I see this not only as the book, but I see this in film form. I want to see this. I need to see this. When I say sitting down every Sunday and watching HBO Max for Lovecraft Country, and I'm like, this shit's good. This is good. And I need to see more of that, and I want to know those histories, because there's even our own people who don't know. We need to be reconnected. There's something about that reconnection that makes you that it's that proud. It's that feeling of being proud, that pride, that integrity. You were like, yo, we were stronger than you made us look.
I do one better, Chris. I want that moment when we all watch Black Panther and dared somebody to say something during the movie.
That part.
Ooh,
I want that. I want that. I want that overall for that entire period that movie came out. Black people was together because the wrong thing got said.
You said that feeling of walking. That's it. That feeling of walking up to the ticket taker and like, what we here for.
What we're here. Like, you need to
just have the tickets ready.
But even though that was a feeling, like you said, I want that feeling to be a movement. I want it to become so normalized that to say that I want it to be to where we never thought that we were without it for a period.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah. Bama said X-Men First Class. I'm still mad about that. And Nicole says, don't get this group started on Darwin. Yeah, don't get it.
You don't want to do that.
Wait, is X-Men First? Is that the third one?
That was when they redid everything and then they made them young again. And
I was mad about the one when everybody was dying. I was like,
yep.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And they killed Dark, the brother who can adapt to anything. But
the black dude, like there's always that meme of him like dying.
Yeah,
I'm like, hold on.
If he
I would
can't
keep
die,
the napkins alive, but you let the one brother that's got a solid mutant ability.
I mean,
I've read the books. My wife is just like, but didn't he just say? I say exactly.
his
He literally
ability
said it.
was
He said, like,
to
a few
adapt
scenes
and
before he dies,
survive
he's
to
like, I can't die.
everything.
Come on, Deadpool 3. I've just been trying to regenerate.
His
That's
name
all-
wasn't Ridge, Thorn, or Braden. That's why he died. Okay.
Tafari, did you have a question before we let Ladarrion go?
No, I'm good. I know he's pressed for time, so I don't want to keep him too long, but I appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because this man is working. That's why.
I know. I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, I have a rehearsal tonight. Again, I'm a playwright. So
Yeah.
I have
Booked and busy.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a good thing. That's a
Busy is a good thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate this. And I didn't say before, but I do want to say that I was also inspired by Black is King. A lot of people slept on it. I'm just saying, I do have to shout that out. I want to shout because that movie and that album really inspired me. That's what clicked. That's what really, that and Lovecraft was what really clicked for me. To be unapologetic about my fantasy stories and to showcase us in just a very beautiful but complicated light. But yeah, I just wanted to say that because that's an inspiration behind the book as well.
I want to, so people can find you on IG, of course. Go to the YouTube channel to see that short film, Blood at the Root. It's dope. It's what you need. Get his numbers up because I'm going to say it. I'm in about a year. In about a year, they're going to be like, "Yo, we need this story." That's right. We don't need a reboot of Harry Potter. We need something else.
Not the Society of Magic.
Hollywood, they look at stuff like that, right? They look at social media and they're like, okay, he's getting this. We need to call him in so we can jump on the train. It's like
call them out like Jay-Z called out the Grammys. That's all I'm saying.
we need to. We definitely need, because some of the stuff they do come out with, and I'm like, that's what y'all putting $200 million.
I'm not gonna lie. That's Society of Magical Negroes for like maybe several days. People were like, "Hey," then they see the trailer. I'm like, "Hey."
And it was so funny to say we wanted a Magic HBCU story. I'm like,
so I got this in the chamber for you.
Yeah, especially when Black Hogwarts was going down, everybody's like, "Oh, Black Hogwarts, we can have our own story." I know 5 authors that are going, "We would like to have a word."
I was literally one of them. I was like, when people were like reposting it, like they had really big following, and I'm like, you follow me, and you know I've been posting about Black Hogwarts or a Magical HBCU for like 2.5 years now, you know. But you know,
no, I get it.
Yeah,
but you're here now. But you're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now. Like I even through that, like because I was getting rejections left and right through all of that, and I was like, I was sending it to my agent every day. I was like, they want it. They want this. They want this. I told you. And he was collecting them, and he literally would send them to the publishers like, they want it. So
what's the problem?
Give this man a deal.
Miss Ray, Miss Issa Ray calling. We might need to have a word.
I mean,
just saying.
Ain't no Mike. Ain't no Mike.
Sis.
We need to have a word.
We shall have a word with you, my dear. We shall have a word with you.
You say you secured funding. I'm just saying you secured funding, but it's like the independent scene is open. I feel like I'm doing the invitation song in the church. The doors are open. We've got the donation. Just come on in.
Yeah, that part. Exactly.
Just need 5 minutes. Come through for a little bit.
This is the book, Blood at the Root. You want to go check that out. Get your pre-orders in now. Those numbers are, from what I've seen, they're moving.
It's so funny to see my publisher's face. like they're like, just off of a book cover, off of a book cover. I was like, I tried to tell y'all. You know, if you give people what they want, they're gonna come by. And this is just before the book comes out. Like, this is not even counting when the book is actually in stores and everywhere people can really go and like, wait, what is that? What is that black one? You know, this is pre-orders, and pre-orders are very important for Black authors because publishing still have a lot of work. They have a lot of work.
Publishing has a lot of work. Hollywood needs a lot of work.
I mean, everybody has a lot of work. But yeah, pre-orders are very important. They just show publishers like, oh, okay, they are actually interested, and then they're gonna push it even more, and that's just But it's on pre-orders right now.
Ladarrion, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all.
This platform and this door is always open whenever you want to. When the book drops, when you say, "Hey, whatever you need, we're here." So I'm gonna let you do your thing. We're gonna go to break, but before I let you do all that, I got to give you this once again.
All I gotta say is come back like Jay-Z did with that wall of receipts and just give a speech. That's all I ask.
Exactly.
Here's all the people who rejected me.
I have them. I still have them. Playwriting to books I still have them. So
we like people that have receipts, especially when there's our people, because that way they can go ahead. It's okay to be a little petty.
Yeah, all right.
You prepaid to be petty. It's okay.
You're prepaid to be petty.
Exactly.
Ladarrion, well, once again, I want to thank you for coming through. Go check him out. Go check out the YouTube channel. Go check him out on IG. Give him a follow at Ladarrion. It's Ladarrion. That's all one word. And here it is right there. Go check that out. He is putting in the work, in the purpose, in the product.
Okay.
Thank you for coming through.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
So